Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. And welcome to this beautiful, bounteous month of May. Perhaps you are full of the joys of spring this morning, and your spirit is responding to the sunshine and the burgeoning of creation. Or maybe your mood is quieter, more attuned to the coolness of the air, or perhaps you're sitting with sadness or worry or even despair. But however you find yourself right now, you are welcome here just as you are. I shall begin, as is our custom, by lighting our chalice candle, the symbol of our free Unitarian faith. And if you have a candle, you might like to light yours with me now. May we light our flames as symbols of our presence and our togetherness in this moment. Even as we are apart in space, we are together in time and attention. And may we share an intention to be here both open-mindedly and wholeheartedly. May it be so. Yesterday was May Day, and also the Celtic festival of Beltane. Now, Beltane can be spelt in different ways and also pronounced in different ways, I'm discovering. So whether you say Beltane or Beltana or whatever variation, it's the same festival, and it's the inspiration for our service this morning. It's a time of year and a festival traditionally marked by maypole dances, May Queens, green men, gods and goddesses, and it's a celebration of creation, fertility, and also of fire. So let us pray, and this is a prayer for Beltane. Great Earth Mother, we give you praise today and ask for your blessing upon us. As seeds spring forth and grass grows green and winds blow gently and the rivers flow and the sun shines down upon our land, we offer thanks to you for your blessings and your gifts of life each spring. Blessed be. And so let us sing. And our first hymn this morning is in our purple hymn books. It's number 147, 147, Spirit of Earth, Root, Stone and Tree. And do feel free to join in with gusto if you feel moved to do so.
Water of life flowing
Beautifully sung. Our story this morning is not particularly a Beltane story, but it did seem to me to chime with the themes. And it's called The Beautiful Tiger. It's by Christopher Buice, who's a Unitarian Universalist minister in Knoxville, Tennessee. I won't be trying to do his accent, though. There was once a beautiful and powerful tiger. One day she was captured by a mean and cruel man who put her into a cage. The man kept the cage in the jungle not far from his house, and every day he would bring out a bowl of water and some food for the lonely tiger. Sometimes the tiger would see her own reflection in the bowl of water, and she would say, "My, I must be a beautiful tiger." But when the man heard her say this, he would lie and tell her, "No, you're not a beautiful tiger. You're ugly. You're a pitiful creature." And sadly, the tiger would believe the man. Some days, after she ate her food, she would walk back and forth in her small cage and feel the energy and power moving through her body. And she would say, "My, I must be a powerful tiger." When the man heard her say this, he would lie again and tell her, "No, you're weak and you're puny, you're a pitiful creature." And sadly, the tiger would believe the man. Then one day, when the man was nowhere around, a lion happened to walk by. The lion saw the tiger lying about in that cage, and he spoke to her and said, "Beautiful, powerful tiger, what are you doing lying there?" And the tigers replied, "I know that I am neither beautiful nor powerful, so don't make fun of me." "I'm not making fun of you," replied the tiger. "I see that you are a beautiful and powerful tiger. I'm only surprised to see you lying there when you're clearly strong enough to break out of that cage." "You really think I could break out of here?" asked the tiger. "Quite easily, I should think," replied the lion. The tiger was not sure at first. She'd been told so many times that she was a weak and pitiful creature. But suddenly it seemed that she could feel energy and strength moving through her body. She began to pace back and forth in her cage, and then almost without thought, she leapt against the cage door and it flew open without any resistance. Once outside, she seemed dazed. "That cage didn't even have a lock on it," she said. "I spent so much of my life stuck in there, and the door wasn't even locked." The lion looked at her with soft brown eyes and said, "Those kinds of traps don't need locks, for it is the lies we believe that keep us in our cages, and it is the truth that sets us free." Thank you to Pam for providing The Lion and the Tiger for this morning's story. And our reading is from a book called Sacred Celebrations by Glennie Kindred, which is a wonderful name. I wonder whether it can possibly be her real name, but I like to think that it is. She writes, Beltane is a fire festival. The word Beltane originates from the Celtic god Bel, meaning the bright one, and the Gaelic word Taine, meaning fire. Together they make bright fire, or goodly fire. And traditionally, bonfires were lit to honour the sun and encourage the support of Bel and the sun's light to nurture the emerging future harvest and protect the community. Bel, it was thought, had to be won over through human effort. Traditionally, all fires in the community were put out, and a special fire was kindled for Beltane. This was Tainegen, the need fire. And people jumped the fire to purify and cleanse and to bring fertility. Couples jumped the fire together to pledge themselves to each other. Cattle and other animals were driven through the smoke as a protection from disease and to bring fertility. And at the end of the evening, the villagers would take some of the Tainegen to start their own fires anew. So a little bit about the festival of Beltane. And we're coming now to a time of reflection. As we've heard, Beltane is associated with passion and blossoming and creativity, new life and fertility, and it's celebrated through fire rituals. Well, we can't light a fire here today, but in the spirit of Beltane, I invite each of us to light a candle if we have one, or to imagine one in our mind's eye if we don't, and to light it for something that perhaps we would like to let go of, or maybe a leap of faith that we might wish to take. So take a little time to do that, and if you would like to share your thoughts in the chat box, then please do so. And while you do that, we'll listen to some music. And this is Philip Croft playing Down by the Sally Gardens. And thank you to Sheila, who shares her hope for the rich nations to share the COVID vaccine with those who haven't enough. And for Jackie, who wants to let go of worrying about what people think of me, she says. I thought I had, but I haven't. I will. I think probably we can all resonate with that. And Mary, my longing that those who are imprisoned by virus fear may find a place of peace. And Edgar, I wish all states implemented real change, such as respect for human rights, which does not require any wealth. Thank you to you all. This time of year is literally a time of blossoming in the Northern Hemisphere. We only have to look out of our windows to see that that's already happening. The season is in full swing. In fact, Beltane is the peak of spring, the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. Of course, the cycles of nature don't always chime with our own emotional cycles of being and feeling. But they do remind us that there is a wheel of life and that everything is constantly in motion, passing through it and with it. And that if our own blossoming isn't quite here yet, then its time will surely come in its own way. So there is hope in the air. And of course, that's coinciding with our shared, gradual, cautiously hopeful emergence from lockdown, which gives this May and this Beltane more poignancy and resonance than ever. The opportunity for us to blossom and the encouragement to do so is there in the ether and in the whole symphony of creation opening up around us, of which we are an integral part. I am experiencing a feeling of spontaneity and serendipity at the moment. On Thursday evening, I made a last-minute decision to join a Zoom conversation. I thought I'd had enough of those, but I'm glad I did it. It was with Phil Waldron, who's minister at Ullett Road Unitarians in Liverpool. And a couple of years ago, I visited Phil there and attended one of his services. It is a huge church. It's a massive red brick building with pews and arches and paintings and lots of different rooms and spaces. So it's very, very different from our church here. And of course, their possibilities and options are correspondingly different from ours too. But hearing Phil talk about how their congregation is flourishing was inspiring. And I just pick out three things he mentioned. And one is to respond to all ideas with a big yes. And I think that's very in keeping with May, isn't it? It's a yes to life. And another was putting energy into building relationships, especially in the community. And then taking the opportunities as they arise, which of course means taking leaps of faith, or we might also say leaps over the fire. So, for example, a chance conversation he had led to his congregation starting a football club for refugees and asylum seekers. And that's now thriving. They couldn't have seen that coming. And they took a very bold leap, which was to employ a Sunday school teacher before they had any children in their congregation. And that particular leap certainly has worked for them because they now have around a dozen youngsters, and they employ now no less than 3 leaders to run their expanding activities for young people. So something to think about there. And another moment of spontaneity, I had a contact out of the blue from Lisa, who's the new pastoral and spiritual coordinator at Plymouth University. She contacted me and we arranged to meet, and we had a very enjoyable cuppa and chat. And she's interested in Unitarianism too, and I just say hello to Lisa if she's watching, because I know she has been watching a few of our services. And so, yes, what leaps over the fire might we take, not just as a congregation, but individually? What might we dare to do in our own lives right now? Some of you have shared some of those things. They don't have to be huge. There are no medals for how far or high you jump. And for you, the fire of Beltane might be a cleansing one, a chance to let go of clutter in your home or in your mind. I just want to reassure you that I haven't set fire to the vestry yet, but I am certainly going to give it a good clear out before we reopen. And I think that will also help me clear my mind too. Or you might be ready to have an act of courage, a willingness to give something new a go, particularly as we collectively begin to come out of our shells and the world opens up to us again. Maybe like the tiger, we realise that what we thought was caging us in was actually not at all. Or maybe you'll find your voice and begin to use it, to give expression to what matters to you and to make a difference to the world around you. It's never too late. Beltane may be a Celtic festival, but its message is one that reverberates throughout all faiths. We are all always being called to jump over the fire and to break free of our cages, to free ourselves from the fear and the guilt or the shame that limits us, and of the prejudice and judgments through which we would limit others. And to dare to dream and to commit to those dreams, to live in fully to this miraculous life, the gift of life, and to be what our hearts and souls and spirits and the God of our understanding yearn for us to be. May it be so. And let's sing again. This is number 66 in our purple hymn books. And it's called How Wonderful This World of Thine. Number 66.
Son,
It's a very uplifting hymn, that one. I enjoyed that. Let's share some closing words to finish. The Carmina Gadalica features hundreds of poems and prayers, which were collected by Alexander Carmichael, a folklorist, and he collected them from residents in various areas of Scotland. And there's a prayer in it entitled, I'm going to try and say it, but you'll have to forgive my pronunciation, Bianachad Beltane, which means the Beltane blessing, which pays tribute to the Holy Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But I'm going to share with you a shorter version, which has been adapted into a more pagan-friendly format for Beltane, and which perhaps also falls more gently on Unitarian ears too. And by the way, the word kine is an archaic word for cattle. So here is the blessing, the Beltane blessing. Bless, O threefold, true and bountiful, myself, my beloved, my children. Bless everything within my dwelling and in my possession. Bless the kine and crops, the flocks and corn, from Samhain eve to Beltane eve, with goodly progress and gentle blessing. From sea to sea and every river mouth, from wave to wave and base of waterfall. Be the maiden, mother and crone, taking possession of all to me belonging. Be the horned god, the wild spirit of the forest, protecting me in truth and honour. Satisfy my soul and shield my loved ones, blessing everything and everyone, all my land and my surroundings. Great gods who create and bring life to all, I ask for your blessings on this day of fire. May it be so. Blessed be us all.